Yep, mine's working.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. If I can take nominations for chair of the Police and Crime panel this evening, please. Thank you. Any other nominations? Nope. You are duly elected chair, Councillor Mackey.
Thank you very much indeed, members. I look forward to another year as chair, and thank you again for your confidence in me. So we'll allow our colleagues to take their seats. Members, we then have item 2 this evening, the appointment of vice chair. Do I have any nominations? Councillor Nawaz. Is that seconded? Seconded. And any other nominations?
I'd like to self-nominate.
Thank you. Any seconder? Thank you. Lovely. So we will take a vote. How do you want to do this? Leslie, do you want to do it as votes, sort of take them in one ballot? Yeah? Okay. Those in favour then, Councillor Frost, please show. 1, 2, 3. Councillor, Mr. Downing, sorry. Show. Thank you. Mr. Downing, you are duly elected. Thank you. Right. Prior to the commencement of the formal meeting, I would like to remind all attendees that this is a public meeting and that's being filmed by Bedford Borough Council, whereby the recording will be available on Bedford Borough Council's website in due course. By taking part in the meeting, attendees are deemed to have consented to the use of such recordings. Attendees are also reminded that when they are addressing the committee and or its presenters, they do not disclose any public information relating to an individual that might breach the Data Protection and General Data Protection Regulation Act of 2018. Please also ensure that your mobile phone is switched off. We move on to Chair's announcements. I have nothing other than just to say that this is effectively our annual meeting for this evening, so I'm hoping we shouldn't take too long. And also a warm welcome to our new member from Luton. Thank you. Look forward to having you here with us.
Yeah, looking forward to welcoming you as well.
Thank you. Item 4, questions from members of constituent councils and members of the public. Mr. Downing.
This is an odd one, Chair. It's an odd one because actually I'd hoped that the PCC was present, but it's not too contentious. There was a meeting of the National Association of Police and Fire and Crime Panels on the 1st of April, I don't make that date up, where the subject of legally qualified chairs was brought up. We're not going to be able to answer this question tonight, so it's pretty much going to be hanging in the ether, but hopefully it will be picked up by the OPCC. And it's an issue of concern because we see every most meetings, we see a strategic decision being taken by the PCC about appointing a legally qualified chair to chair discipline hearings. There appears to be a national shortage, and that's what my question is. That at the moment, the complaint procedure apparently averages over 400 days, something which I think probably causes us some concerns as members of the public, as well as being members of this panel. So really, it's a question to the PCC in absentia. Hopefully, he'll pick it up, and that is, how difficult is it for you to obtain the services of a legally qualified chair?
Leslie, could we perhaps just write to the OPCC and just ask him to give that back to us at the next meeting? Thank you. Any other questions? No. Thank you very much. To receive apologies for absence. So from the room, I guess we've got Councillor Caswell, Ms Antoine, Dr. Factor and Councillor Vasalian. Lovely. Thank you. The minutes of the previous meeting, you've had those circulated and I've had no challenges to those minutes. Is everyone in favour that I should sign those as correct records? Lovely. Thank you. Everyone happy with that? Disclosure of local and or disclosable pecuniary interests. Do any members have any they need to disclose? No, thank you. Police and Crime Panel procedure rules. Graham, anything you want to say on that?
Thank you, Chair. No, the procedure rules are before you, as they usually are, just to confirm the rules of this panel as part of the effectively the AGM of this body. I don't propose any changes to those procedure rules, Chair, but they're there for noting and endorsing. Thank you.
Members, any comments or questions on procedure rules? No. Are we happy to endorse those for the year ahead? Yeah, thank you very much. Appointments to the Complaints Subcommittee. How many do we need, Leslie? Look on the rules.
We'll just check that for you, Chair.
I think from memory it's 6 or 7. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's go for nominations, because you need at least 3 to constitute a panel. So if we've got a minimum of those, then I think we're happy, but we want more than that. So I'm happy to remain on it. Lovely. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 6. Councillor Nawaz, Councillor Frost, Mr. Melville, Mr. Downing, myself, and Councillor Moore. Yeah, lovely. Of course, should anyone else want to join that august body, I'm sure you wouldn't be turned away. Lovely. The complaints procedure. Graham, since last time a bit of work's been done on that, do you want to just précis that for us so we can go ahead?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, so since the panel last reviewed the procedure, I don't have any further amendments to propose to the procedure. Again, as with the procedure rules, it's just there to confirm that you are content with that as a procedure for complaints against the Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think since Councillor Mahmood.
Quick question on a general point on rules. When a complaint comes in against the Commissioner, are you duty bound to report it to the Commissioner straight away and to notify him of that complaint?
Thank you, Chair. So it depends upon how the complaint is going to be dealt with, because part of providing the Commissioner with notification of the complaint, also it's a requirement of me to confirm how that complaint is going to be handled. So normally, if a complaint comes in, if I'm going to deal with it in my capacity as monitoring officer on behalf of the panel, in consultation with the chair, then I would always confirm the complaint with the Commissioner and seek a response to the allegations that have been taken, that have been made. If it's going to be dealt with by a subcommittee, there's obviously a procedure that needs to be followed in relation to that subcommittee, and the complaint would be shared with the Commissioner along with anticipated timescale and the procedure that will be followed in relation to dealing with that complaint. So hopefully that answers the question, Chair, but happy to provide further clarity.
Just for my own clarification, because there's I won't get into the details, but you're saying, so the moment the complaint comes in, you're not duty bound to tell him or her right away. You wait until you've decided what process, and at that point you... Okay.
So there's a triage process, effectively, to sort of screen out things that are not related potentially to the PCC's code of conduct. So if, for instance, it's something about staffing or anything like that that falls outside the remit of this panel, then those kind of things can immediately be sort of moved back and sort of sent back to the OPCC's monitoring officer, who's Mr. Basra.
And just to follow, if I may, just my own clarification. If the IOPC have already investigated a complaint and dismissed it, does that have any bearing on the sub-complaints panel and whether does that affect your own procedure in any way?
Thank you. Yeah, there are specific complaints that the panel can deal with, and there are specific complaints that the panel cannot deal with. If the, and I'll get this incorrect, and I apologise, IOPC were to refer something to the panel that was in the jurisdiction of the panel, then that is something that the panel could deal with. Otherwise, it wouldn't fall within our jurisdiction, and we would not be able to consider anything in relation to something that they would be investigating.
So I think, for clarity, anything that is potentially criminal in nature falls outside the remit of the panel. So ours is related purely to code of conduct. Yep. Okay. And I think that sort of has covered off what I was going to say a little bit on the complaint procedure, because we had refined that considerably over the last year, bearing in mind experience and that kind of thing since the former BCC's days as well. So I think we're in a position now where we are very comfortable with the way that it runs, and we understand what is in our remit, what is not, and how we then deal with those complaints. So should they come in, that triage will distill a complaint into some very salient points that the subcommittee can then look at and make the determination of that complaint much safer than sometimes when in the past I think it's been a little bit scattergun in approach, wrong words, but we looked at a very wide remit, whereas our remit is quite narrow within our constitution. Right. Anything else on complaints procedure before we move on? No, thank you. Work programme. So under the work programme, we also want to look at getting some dates finally for this away day. So I haven't seen a lot from people, but it seems to be that the best way to move forward is going to be to do a couple of half sessions. Whether those are evening sessions is probably to be decided depending on member commitments and that kind of thing. But it seems that people couldn't commit to a full day as we have done in the past. So can I have, is anyone against doing 2 evening sessions or 2 day sessions, or a day session and an evening session? Leigh?
I was just looking at what's being proposed, and for me that doesn't feel like an away day. It just feels like another session. So I don't think that's a good idea. I think it loses the focus of having an away day.
I think I would have preferred a long, proper away day, but it seems that we have problems with people being able to commit to 1 full day, and we can never get to a position where we've got enough people to actually make it a useful day. So I think getting the information across to people and understanding sort of work streams and programs in a way is more important than perhaps doing it on 1 day, as much as I would prefer to do it like that. But again, if members can all commit to a single day, that would be wonderful, but we just seem to be going in roundabouts and struggling to be able to do that. Ahmed?
Thank you, Chair. I personally would also struggle with 2 evenings sessions. It's just not possible to do 2. So probably go back to the day 1 sort of thing. Thank you.
Lee?
Can I suggest that we just put a date out there for September, October, that gives people plenty of time to plan for it, because in the past it came quite with short notice. And if we're planning it for September, October, then I'm sure people can make it happen, or the majority can make it happen.
Anyone else views?
Does it have to be a full day? Could it be half a day?
It's usually sort of 2/3 of a day, so we'll start sort of mid-morning and then finish about 3-ish. With a lunch break in between.
If I'm with Lee, I'm also with Lee in the content as been described here, but I appreciate this is draft. It does seem very repetitious, especially for those that have sat here for several years. If we had something in late summer, early autumn, we may actually be able to build it around the response, for example, from HMIC, and have a practical session where we can work a plan depending on what HMIC tell us about the effectiveness currently of Bedfordshire Police.
Anyone disagree? No? Okay, so we will then pursue our usual sort of one, but we'll look at perhaps 2 or 3 dates, put those across, get consensus. But I have to say, members, and again, I hope that those who are not here this evening, I realise it's difficult for people to get there, but I think, Paul, you and I have sat in somewhere there's been 3 or 4 of us there, and it's been, not to say it's been wasted, but I think it's a huge missed opportunity. So I would really encourage members to get to that, because it does effectively decide what our work programme is going to look like, how our scrutiny is going to function. I don't perhaps think we need, as you say, Paul, the full legislative sort of background and training, again, like we have had in the past. Perhaps that's something that, well, if we were to have continued, could have always been done at the beginning of a term. But I don't know. Rob?
Thank you, Chair. Well, there's a few new members, including myself, here, and some of the legislative background might be useful for us if we could have a short session that concentrates on that for the new people.
Yeah, I think we can do a shorter session than we would otherwise have done, but we've sort of repeated in years past the same thing year on year on year. But yeah, I appreciate that you need that background as well. Okay, Leslie.
Thank you, Chair. Just to add to that, and thank you for those comments, that's really helpful. If, when I send the email round about a date for September, October, I'll put these bullet points in that email, and if I can invite comments back on what content, because it is really a day for yourselves, very much a member-led day. So if you could feed back some comments on what you would like in that session, and we can look at a new member session as well on some of the legislation. But that would be really helpful to get that feedback from you.
Would it perhaps be worthwhile for new members if we organise just maybe an evening briefing just on that for you, and then we don't take up time of an away day? Yeah? Okay, if we could do that. And who was our consultant? Would he do like an online virtual, or are you able to deliver that?
It was Frontline Consulting that we used previously, so we can consult with them. Yeah, and just as a point, would it be helpful to have perhaps prior to a meeting in the evening if it was just kind of an hour session? Does that fit in?
I think some people struggle to get here early enough to be able to do it, and I don't want to sort of time limit it for those people who do want to really get into more depth. So perhaps we could speak to the newer members who haven't been through that. So, Paul?
Yeah, Gareth, I'm happy to put myself forward as if I could be so bold, as a mentor for new members, just to run them through perhaps some of the history and the rules and regs, etc. More than happy to do that offline.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much. Okay, maybe if we could speak to Frontline, get a couple of dates, and then just the newer members who haven't gone through any away day before. Lovely. General work programme, you have that document before you. Everyone content with that as it sits? Yeah.
The only comment I would make is that if you want to move some of the meeting dates, you've got other people visiting. And for exactly the same reason that we said that we weren't going to start and do the training earlier, all those other sessions are earlier. So I just wonder what the take-up would be and whether we need to push it back a bit to give everyone the fair chance to get here.
Right, we'll have a look at that again offline, see what we can put together for you, and we'll send an email round with all of the proposals in there, and I will check with the OPCC as well and go from there. But I think that the big salient one, can you believe it, we're already 6 months in, so we're going to start looking at budgets again fairly soon. That's usually the big one, and it'd be nice to get something before that. Lovely. Dates of future meetings we have discussed. Again, new members will see the 16th of February is the provisional date. That's in the event that we can't agree a precept. But I don't think we've ever had to use that, thank goodness. Okay, that's about it. Anything else from anyone before I close the meeting? Paul?
I just wondered on agenda setting, and I appreciate this might be duplication, but it might be helpful again for new members. The Commission's report often refers to, and it's a link, a hyperlink to the accountability meeting that he has with the Chief Constable, and also to the Performance and Governance Board. And they're buried within his report. I'm just wondering, both for ourselves and, of course, for members of the public that may have an interest in how we're overseeing our key work, which is the relationship between Chief Constable and PCC, whether we don't highlight those two meetings on the agenda as we move forward, therefore making it easier for us to see those immediate records, and for anyone else who may be interested in the performance of Bedfordshire Police and how the PCC is interacting with it, they can see it themselves straight away without having to dig too deep into a 40-50 page report. I'll just throw that one out there.
Happy just to put those links in there for us. Excellent. Lovely. One last thing before I do close. Members, you will note that instead of live streaming our meetings nowadays, we now record them and post them online. Is anyone in particular happy, unhappy with that, or you happy that we just continue as is? Because I think, Mark, you guys at Bedford spoke about it in budget terms.
Yes, so when we were looking for cost savings, one of the things that was put forward was live streaming of meetings because of the cost of all the ancillary. So what we do is we live stream full council, executive and planning. Everything else is recorded and available next day, and that was supported by everybody. So if we wanted this live stream, we would probably have to have all our meetings at Central Beds.
Lovely. So members content with just recording and posting. Lovely. Excellent. Thank you. That concludes this evening's meeting then. Oh, sorry.
Raising the same point, it would be good for, given that Luton's one of the constituent councils, to have one of the meetings in Luton at some point.
Because we would be able to live stream.
I love going to Luton. No, really, I do. It's a beautiful chamber to do it in, and it's always been lovely. I think the only problem we had in the past was parking, because I don't think you have your own sort of parking outside, do you? So it was trying to find that.
Yeah, there are council car parks.
Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about that. But like I said, I absolutely love going to your council chamber. It really is a treat to go in there. But yeah, I think you are right. It is nice to be able to go, given that you are one of the constituent councils. I think we struggled quite a lot in the past. I think, is that correct, Paul? I think in the past, that's why we stopped going to Luton. Yeah. Okay, but let's have a chat. Lovely. Thank you very much. Meeting finished.